Hiya, so we thought
Hi.
we'd do a little update as to what we're doing and how we're getting on during the old
Turbulent
coronavirus
times.
pandemic.
It's all a bit crazy, the world right now, from what we're seeing and hearing.
You know what? It was about 4 weeks ago, I think it was, maybe 4.5 weeks ago, we were working our way through Laos and we knew the virus was going on and obviously it was getting serious at that point in China and places like that. But since we hit Thailand, it just exploded, as you all know back home. Sort of 3 weeks ago, 3.5 weeks ago, I think, something like that. And it just exploded, and
since then we've been trying to scrabble with our itinerary and work things around. And our original itinerary was to work our way down through the Thai islands, then through the Malaysian islands, through Malaysia, down to Singapore, and then into Australia. Then things started to get a bit dodgy in Singapore, so we thought, right, well, we'll bring our move to Australia a bit closer, and we rerouted to go from Bangkok to Australia. So we thought, yes, we're going to beat it. And then,
well, it wasn't a question. I mean, at that stage, we weren't trying to beat it. We knew what the risks were, but we thought if we can get to Australia,
we'd be somewhere a bit more familiar with similar systems
and that sort of thing. And the plan was to get a camper van and spend 4 weeks on the road, and we were going to try and avoid it and keep away from a lot of people, avoid people, and just cruise up the west coast, and we were hoping that would be enough, but it's just gone crazy, and Australia shut their borders to non-residents, and it literally just put up the blockade straight away. And all the Asian countries around us were were closing their borders. Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, even Thailand. Now, you can't get into Thailand where we are now without a health certificate from an official or a qualified doctor, and it has to be approved by the embassy or something like that.
Yeah,
it's something like that.
I think you have to have like £10,000 insurance policy or something like that.
So you can't move around Asia, you can't go to Australia. So literally the barricades came up, and our only option was to go home. That's no exaggeration. Our only option.
In the space of a few hours, that everything just changed. Like that. My world fell apart. Dan stayed really focused and level-headed, thank goodness. And as soon as we found out he was on there, found a flight for us to get back to Heathrow. We kind of talked about the options of what would happen had that gone ahead.
I think they announced it around 9-10 a.m. in the morning. And we got the news feed at about 11, and we actually had lunch early that day. So as soon as I heard it, I said to Nick, look, let's go onto Expedia and book a flight. And fortunately with Expedia, you've got 24 hours to cancel your flight. So we booked it straight away, booked a BA flight direct from Bangkok to the UK. Done that.
Huge expense.
Yeah.
Don't even want to think about the expense.
We got that book, got it confirmed, and then I checked later on in the afternoon, and all the flights had gone already. As soon as Australia closed their borders, people had to get home, people changed their plans, so all the flights just went just like that. And now there's no direct flights at all from Bangkok. You have to go via, certainly not in the next week or two.
Our agent who's dealing with because we bought a round the world ticket, we asked him his advice after we'd bought the ticket, and he wanted to send us to Tokyo and then to LA and then back to London.
Under the terms of the ticket, you have to keep going one way round, and it meant going from Bangkok to Tokyo, Tokyo to LA to the UK, and there's just there were too many problems that could have occurred
variables
on that route, and
that could be closed.
So we said no, we'll pay for our own ticket home, and we'll try and claim it back on the insurance. We'll see what happens, but that's the least of our worries. We're in Bangkok at the moment, and we've been kind of on lockdown for the last couple of days. When I say lockdown, you can walk the streets, but everything's pretty much closed.
We paid for a really swanky hotel. We thought, okay, we'll be in Bangkok for a little time. This is going to be like at the end of our trip, so we found somewhere with 2 swimming pools and a massive all-inclusive breakfast, and we got here.
And it's dead.
It's dead.
Literally,
and the swimming pools are closed.
Yeah, the gym's closed. Everything's closed. It's like one of these kind of hotels which has got like, shops and like health spas and all this sort of stuff. And it's going to be nice for a couple of nights, but it's all shut. And we even done some videos which we'll overlay on this, where all the upper floors are all shut and all like it's dark, pitch black.
It's a bit like The Shining.
There's no one here
really
at all.
Weird.
It's like The Shining. And this morning for breakfast, it was just us, and we looked at the list on the breakfast list. And usually when you go to stay in a hotel, and you have
really
breakfast,
expensive.
it's just a massive long list. But it was like what, 4 or 5 people.
Maybe 10 max, but
it wasn't 10.
It wasn't 10. It was very small.
It wasn't 10. There's no way. It was, I don't know, maybe 6, 7 people. Rooms for breakfast, and this hotel's big. It's large. It's like 17 floors, and there's
massive. It's huge, isn't it?
We done that loop, so it's like, that loop we did. We got so bored in the hotel. We decided to go on an adventure in the hotel. Took the girls. We were playing games and chase around the hotel, and they must have thought we were absolute lunatics because we were like up and down the lift on each floor, hiding
and running around.
Oh, and it's so bored. We can go outside and walk. We've done that a couple of times, but everything's shut.
It's really hot, and the girls find it boring. We're walking on the street.
It's all shut. It's all shut, and it's quite sad, really, because there's a lot of people. We have to put it into perspective. We're absolutely gutted that our trip's come to an end. We really are. But
devastated. That's why it's taken till now to do this video.
But
we just don't want to talk about it.
We put it into perspective. We've had 7 epic months where we've just done everything. We've gone 100 miles an hour and done everything we wanted to do in those 7 months. And the virus is bigger than our trip. There's so many people around the world that, more importantly, are losing their lives. Secondly, they're losing their livelihoods, their jobs, their businesses. There's so much worry out there in the world of what people are going to do during this pandemic or this crisis. And we need to keep that in the front of our thoughts. And we're gutted, but we know that we're still healthy. There's a lot of people a lot worse off than us, and our plan is, we're hoping, fingers crossed, that in 4 months, 3 to 4 months, maybe things will settle down and maybe borders will open, which means we can continue with our travels for 1 or 2 months before we have to go back to normality and work and things like that.
We don't know. Scenario, we're hoping.
We're hoping, but we're keeping an open mind. You never know. We might get 1 or 2 months where we can pick up our trip.
And the world is going to need tourism by then.
Because
these places.
It's so sad.
Devastating.
On our last day in Koh Lanta.
3 days ago?
Yeah, all the restaurants and bars and businesses were just dead. It was just so dead. It was eerie.
The government has issued a directive to shuttle bars and massage places and places where people gather.
Yeah.
And then that's just filtering down now. So it's frightening. And you have to remember that these countries don't really have many exports, so their main income is actually tourism. So
I mean Thailand, but countries like Laos and Cambodia. And sort of southern Thailand, and the islands rely heavily on tourism, and it's the same around the world. It's not just Asia. There's you think of how many people or businesses rely on tourists, and once you turn that off, people suffer. We've heard rumours about the UK's. People are hysterical and they're raiding the shelves in supermarkets and all that kind of stuff. And
that's totally not the case here.
Here, no,
everything's plentiful.
Yeah,
there's food everywhere. There's toilet roll everywhere.
Well, at the moment, all the shops are open. The shelves are full, and people aren't, hysterical and overreacting. They're dealing with it, and there's hand sanitizer everywhere. There's temperature checks. We have to every time we leave our room.
They're really strict here.
Well, we're like the only guests here. Well, not the only guests. There's us and a few other rooms, but every time we leave the hotel or leave our room, we get a temperature check, forehead temperature check. At the airports, there's temperature checks everywhere.
And there's
hand sanitizer
everywhere. I mean, they're very careful. They're going about it well.
But then we know people that have been arriving back in Heathrow, and there's no temperature check. Well, no hand sanitizer. It's like.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. So the guys here are taking it seriously. Maybe
I'm not looking forward to going back to the cold.
But look, we're gutted. We're coming home. We've had 7 good months. Those of you that saw the videos will see that we've just, had an awesome, epic trip. So we're satisfied with that.
To hold on to that.
We're upset. We're gutted. The girls, Evie's emotions are all over the place. She's happy to go home. She's sad. she's going home. She's sad to leave. She's happy to leave. She's, you know, she wants to see her friend. She wants her own bedroom, but she doesn't want to leave the adventure. You know, because these girls.
She wants her own room with Tilly.
Right, but you know,
it'll be very strange not to have them in the same room as us.
And even us, you know, it ended abruptly, the trip.
Yeah.
But the important thing is we've got a flight home, and we're going to be home hopefully by the end of the day tomorrow. But there's so many there's so many people that are stranded around Asia that we know of, that we're in contact with, and people we've met. We had one family we met, the this family. You can beep that, but we followed your blog and we're glad you're home.
It was such a great time.
These guys, for you that don't know them, the family, lovely family we met in Vietnam. They had a 50-60 hour journey home.
Oh gosh, I think they had a horrendous time. They got stuck in the Philippines for a while and had about 3 or 4 legs.
So we're so glad you got home, because they had 2 young children, younger than our children. But there's other families that have only just started their adventures, and they've had to cut it short after 1 or 2 weeks, or even 1 month.
So at least we've had 7 really good months.
But the point is,
everything happens for a reason, and hopefully we'll be able to head out again soon.
Yeah, but for us, we're happy to get home and get into.
Well, we don't actually have a home to go to. We're really lucky that my dad's going to put us up, because he needs to quarantine himself as well, because they came to visit.
Yeah, so Nick's dad's got to quarantine himself for 2 weeks as well, so we're going to head there. So we can all quarantine together. He left yesterday. We're leaving tomorrow, so we can self-quarantine together. And then from there, we're not sure whether
He's got a caravan we can borrow.
We've got a caravan we can borrow. We might use the caravan.
Might go to see my mum in France.
In France, yeah, we've got some plans in the short term, but
Just
long term,
when everything opens a little bit.
Long term, we're hoping we can get 1 or 2 months, maybe July, August, to travel. We don't know.
In the short term, we're hoping that we make it through the 14 days of being in isolation, because we're not used to sitting still for so long.
But for people that I work with, I'm not going back at work until September. Even though I love you guys a lot, I really don't want to see you until September. Some of the guys I work with, I don't want to see your faces until September, if I'm honest, because we're having such a good time that, but I've still got a job to go back to, apparently.
Hopefully that won't change. But providing everyone stays indoors and quarantines, everything will be over quicker. So stay put, guys.
Yeah, but isn't Boris's idea for the healthy people to get the virus?
There's lots of different theories, aren't there? But
anyway, we're going to get off now. I'm going to try and find some food, and more importantly, we're going to try and find some alcohol to drink.
And bring it back to our room, because we're not allowed to eat anywhere else.
Yeah, so
everything's closed. We'll see you on the other side.
Bye.
Bye.